Hi, this is Don McAllister and welcome to another weekly tip video. Your Apple ID is probably the most important secure ID that you use on a day-to-day basis, as it's the gateway to pretty much all of the Apple online services and apps that you use. As such, it's important that your password is strong and changed on a regular basis, as well as using two-factor authentication to protect your Apple ID. So in this week's tip video, I'm going to take a look at the online Apple ID service that allows you to manage your Apple ID. So Apple have set up a specific web service to manage your Apple ID, and it's over at appleid.apple.com. So I'm going to sign in with my current Apple ID. We'll hit return. Now I have two-factor authentication set up on this particular device. Across on my iPhone I can see a code, so let me just pop that code in. 952231. And that takes us into the Manage Your Apple ID service. Now this web page is broken down into several sections, so we'll go through each section. You can also access this via an iOS device as well. It's not like the iCloud.com service whereby you have to use a Mac. You can use this page either on your iPad, your iPhone, or your Mac itself. So this is the Apple ID that I use to log into my various devices and services. If you have an older Apple ID, you might be able to change it. For instance, if you had an original Mac.com account, you can edit this so you can use your @iCloud account, @me account, or @Mac account. But this is a relatively new Apple ID I've set up, so we just have this one option here. Now I can go in and edit. So let's say edit. I can change my name. I can change my date of birth. It needs to be accurate, because it does use your date of birth to access some Apple services. Where you're contactable at, so you can put non-Apple email addresses in here. For instance, this one here is a ScreenCastsOnline.com email address. If you wanted to add an additional address in here, it really just helps other people find you on the different services. You would just say add more, add in your email address or your phone number, hit continue, and it will then send a confirmation email or message across to the phone for you to confirm that. But I'm going to say cancel to that for now. Your language, your country or region. So no changes here. So I'm just going to say done. If I scroll down, security. So a couple of options here. Obviously we can change our password. I'll come back to that. We have our trusted phone number so that we can get SMS messages for two-factor authentication, etc. I currently have two-factor authentication switched on. Now, if you haven't got two-factor authentication switched on, I would recommend that you do switch it on. It does safeguard you from people accessing your Apple ID. And as I said in the introduction, your Apple ID really is the gateway to lots and lots of different services. So you really want to protect it as best you can. And then we have here the app-specific passwords. A quick word about that. But let's go into change our password first, actually. So if we wanted to change our password, click on this link. We give the current password, and then our new password. Let me just scroll up slightly. Your password must have 8 or more characters, have upper and lowercase letters, and at least one number. So currently it's moderate. Now, in my opinion, you should really have a very, very strong password for your Apple ID. This is a relatively short one because it's just a demo account, but you know, we have so many things now like Face ID, Touch ID, both on iOS and also on the Mac now. There's no real excuse not to have a strong password for your Apple ID, so as strong as possible, really. If you do think your password has been compromised, you can click this box here, and basically when I change my password, all the devices that I'm currently signed in on using my old password I'll be signed out of, so I'll need to sign in with my new password once I change it. I'm going to go ahead and say change password, and that has now been changed. Right, straight away I've got a few issues now. This Mac can't connect to iCloud because of a problem with my iCloud account. Basically, I've been logged out of this Mac. So what I need to do is go back into iCloud preferences, and I need to put in the new password here. We'll sign in with our new password. I've just got a new verification code on my Apple Watch, so I'll type that in, 038490. And I'm now logged in to my Mac with the new password, so that's fine. A quick word about the app-specific passwords. Now, these are the passwords that are required if you try to log into your iCloud account using a third-party app. For instance, if you're using Fantastical as a calendar application, you want to access your iCloud account. You can't use your Apple ID password to do that. You have to generate an app-specific password. And this just adds an extra layer of protection to prevent third parties having your actual Apple ID password. And to generate one, you just click on here. Let's say I wanted to, well, let's use Fantastical as an example. Let's say I wanted to get access using Fantastical on my iPad. Say create. And it gives me an app-specific password that I can now use across on that third-party app to get me into iCloud. And you can see up in the top, I've had a notification from Apple via email. We'll say done. Just one other thing about app-specific passwords. You can run out of them. I discovered on my primary account, I think I had about 15 or so app-specific passwords. And when I tried to create a new one, I couldn't. It wouldn't let me. So what I had to do was to go to Edit and then View History. Then I had to find one that I wasn't using anymore and then click on this X here. That would revoke it. Or you can revoke all if you want to set everything up again. But I won't do that now. I'll just say done. And while we're in here as well, I've got my notification email, which is separate from my Apple ID email. So if I ever get locked out of my Apple ID account, I can get access via a secondary email address. And this is where you would switch on two-factor authentication if it wasn't switched on already. I have the option here to switch it off, but I'm definitely going to leave that on. Okay, let's go back and we'll say done. The devices I'm currently signed into. Now you can remove these devices if you want, but I'm going to leave those for now. Payment and shipping, so what your current payment options are. Now I have no payment method on file because I'm using a family account for this demo account. And then subscriptions to the various email services that you might want to subscribe to from Apple. But again, I'll leave those for now. Then down at the bottom, there is an option here for a support PIN. If you do contact Apple support, they may ask you for a 4-digit PIN. This is the place you would go to generate that PIN, but I'm going to say cancel to that for now. And then back up to the top. So very, very important that you look after your Apple ID, and this is where you can manage it over at appleid.apple.com. If you want to learn more about using your Apple devices, there are over 700 full video tutorials available to ScreenCasts Online members, covering all aspects of the Mac, iPhone, iPad, Apple Watch, and even the Apple TV. Now, all full members receive a new Apple-related video tutorial each and every week, as well as a free subscription to the ScreenCastsOnline monthly magazine, packed with videos and articles on getting the most out of your Apple devices. Now, you can get your free 14-day trial membership over at ScreenCastsOnline.com, or check out some of the free content over on the SCO Showcase app on the iPad, iPhone, and Apple TV. That's it for this week. I'll be back next week with another tip, so I'll speak to you then.